Hello everyone, my name is Teresa and we are back with another video of security in 5. And today's topic is about the password problem. The password problem. So quick question, how many of your accounts share the same exact password right now? I'll just give you a second to think about that. As in your emails, your database logins, your scheduling apps, your financial mobile apps. If you're not sure, or if the honest answer is most of them, then this episode is for you. Most of the password problem isn't really about passwords. It's about what happens to everyone connected to our organization when that password fails. So let's get into it. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Most security incidents don't start with some genius hacker breaking through a firewall. No, it rarely starts that way, to be honest. They start with a password that was too weak, too old, or reused somewhere it should not have been used. For an NGO or a small or medium enterprise, that is not an abstract IT problem. Think about what a single set of stolen credentials can unlock. A donor database with names, addresses, and payment history, a document with beneficiary records or financial records, a field reporting tools that coordinates real people in real locations, a shared email inbox that donors and partners trust as official. When a password fails, it's not just a login that's compromised. It is the trust of everyone whose information sits behind it. That's the donors, your partners, your suppliers, your vendors, and even the communities that we serve. And the way passwords usually fail comes down to two habits. They are weak and they are reused. Let's look at exactly how fast that catches up with us. Let us demystify this. Okay. When attackers steal a database of passwords, they are not typing guesses one at a time. They are running specialized hardware and software that can attempt billions of combinations every second. Here's what that means in practice and in real life. An 8-character password, even with numbers and symbols mixed in, can fall in hours, sometimes less. I mean, that they can be cracked in hours or sometimes less. Modern hardware chews through short password very, very fast. A 10 to 11 character password buys more time, but it's still within the reach for a motivated attacker with the right equipment to crack your password. A 12 plus character password or passphrase, especially something long and very unusual, pushes the crack time into thousands or millions of years, effectively making brute force attacks pointless. So brute force is basically trying different password against the same account. Notice what actually moved the needle there. It wasn't adding a random exclamation point or swapping the letter A for the symbol at. It was the length. A longer and memorable phrase beats a short, clever password every single time. Kindly remember this. A longer and memorable phrase or passphrase beats a short and clever password every time. Here's the twist. Most people don't expect none of these brute force matters if your password is reused. If your volunteer coordination login was in any past data breach, even one from a completely unrelated past website years ago, attackers don't need to crack anything. You just try the same email and password combination against dozens of other sites, including yours. This is called credential stuffing. And it is the single fastest way accounts actually get broken into just because somebody decides to reuse their email and password again, and the attacker decides to try that combination too again, and then they get access to your account. Not clever. This is not clever hacking. It's just recycling. So let us concentrate with a scenario that's more common than you think. A field coordinator sets up a login for a new database collection during a busy registration drive. Short on time, they reuse the same password they use for their personal email, a password that's unknown to them was exposed in a breach 2 years earlier. Months later, that password surfaces in a leaked credentials list being traded online. An attacker runs it against a batch of NGO non-profit platforms, not targeting organizations specifically, just casting a wide net. It works. Suddenly, someone outside your organization has access to beneficial registration data, which includes names, locations, household details for people who trust your organization to keep that information safe. Notice what didn't happen here. No sophisticated attack, no targeted attack on your NGO by name, just one reused password sitting in the wrong database, waiting to be tried somewhere else. This is exactly why I'm too small a target isn't real protection. Reuse passwords get caught in wire nets and not precision strikes. So it could be that the attacker was not aiming for your organization anyway, but because you reused a password that was exposed before, they will now have access to your systems and begin to cause damage, exfiltrate sensitive data they're not supposed to have access to, and probably sell it on the dark web, which as an organization you wouldn't want that because you wouldn't want your volunteers' data, employees' data, communities that you serve data to be out there and being used for the wrong purposes. So what is the fix? Realistically, for people juggling field work, not full-time IT, first switch to passphrases, not passwords. So let us make it a point to move from passwords to passphrases. So passphrases are lengthy, unrelated words. They are usually 5 or 4 unrelated words. They are long, memorable, and dramatically harder to brute force than symbol swapping. So basically, string together 4 or 5 unrelated words, something like correct horse, battery, lantern, correct horse, battery, lantern. It is long, it is memorable, and it is harder to crack than password or any short clever password that you see. Second, never reuse a password across accounts, especially between personal accounts and anything tied to your line of work data. One password, one account every time. I'm sure you might be wondering, how will I keep track of all the passwords I use if I'm to use a new password for every account that I create, given that in our digital world, you need an account for almost everything or to access resources, any resource online. That is why we have password managers. So password managers will help you keep track of all your passwords and ensure that you don't have to carry the load of memorizing or writing your passwords anywhere for them to be discovered by quote unquote a bad person. And then yes, a bad person. So these are the 3 habits close the door. So these 3 habits close the door on brute force cracking and credential stuffing. Okay, the two-way passwords actually fail. Is that okay? So once you follow these 3 passphrase method, which is to switch from passwords to passphrases. Second, never to reuse a password across accounts. And third, to use a password manager to remember all your unique a strong password for every account because every account must have its own unique password. And password managers do you the favor of not having to memorize all your unique password for your over 5 or 10 counts. So let's recap. Passwords fail two ways, okay, because they are too short and because they have been reused. Fix both with our passphrase method that was talked in the earlier slide, and you have removed the single most common entry points for attackers to use against your account. This week's action: pick your 3 most important accounts. It could be your email, your donor systems, your employee systems, your financial record systems, or field tools, and give each one of them a long, unique passphrase, not a password, a long, unique passphrase. So for the next episode, we'll be covering multi-factor authentication, the single best backup for when a password does slip through. Same time, same place. This has been Security in 5. So see you guys next time. It will be Security in 5, and we'll be talking about the MFE. So as we move on, every day, pick 3 accounts that you own or possess and change the passwords to passphrases, giving them a long, unique passphrase. So it's something that's memorable but long. And don't forget to download a password manager that will make sure to remember all your unique passwords without having to burden yourself with the work of having to remember every unique password for your account. Thank you very much for your time and do have a nice day. Bye.